good morning, and welcome to Coffee and Tequila, a weekday pop culture morning show. I'm Zachary Patton-Garcia.
And I am Alastair.
What happened just now? What did you just do?
I don't know.
He had a spasm if anybody could see him.
What?
My
Good
mom
morning.
is here. Yes, good morning. My mom is here for this one because today, what is your name, Mother?
Jennifer Garcia.
We're going to be covering a couple topics today, and then we are going to be doing, for the majority of the episode, since we missed episode by episode coverage of The Handmaid's Tale Season 4, we're going to be doing an entire season kind of, not recap, but like a season review. That'll be towards
conversation.
A spoiler season review, so that'll be towards the end of the episode. So if you haven't seen the season or you don't want to know any spoilers, then we'll give you a warning right before we start it. So... how are you doing today, Mother? How's your morning going?
It's going pretty good.
Yeah.
I'm just drinking coffee.
Yeah, the coffee to our tequila.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
I have no tequila in my coffee.
She puts tequila in her coffee. She puts bourbon in her coffee every morning.
No.
I'm drinking
no.
tequila.
Yeah. No.
Are you?
Are you?
Yeah.
Yeah, he is drinking a little bit.
I have a little glass of
So
tequila.
early in the morning?
No, we're recording this.
We don't have to pretend it's early.
Okay. Dad, how are you doing this morning?
we
I'm just
are
drinking coffee. I really am drinking coffee though.
We're recording this on Wednesday night. Episode of The Handmaid's Tale actually came out today, so I don't know. Yeah.
I saw that you guys made like a bunch of fajitas and stuff and margaritas yesterday. That looked really good.
Yeah, we've kind of gotten a little addicted to the margarita thing. We've been buying
No tequila,
those
but she's got margarita.
There's tequila in
Cayman Jack, like margarita cocktails. We've been buying those and drinking those every day.
Those
And
are really good.
They are so good. And we've just been grilling and playing cornhole.
She said we've been grilling and chilling like villains. So it's
Except today. We didn't today. We were kind of tired.
yeah. I don't know. I'm fighting off a sickness. Me and Sage both got sick from I don't know, but we're both like the exact same type of sick. You know, it's a lot of sinus stuff. My throat is like really raw. My jaw's kind of like locked up too. My elbow joint hurts.
Yeah,
So,
I
don't
made
know.
I made him a hot toddy earlier.
Yeah.
And it was actually a hot tequila toddy.
For some reason, I thought that it was, I don't know, I just got paranoid for a second. I'm like, isn't it COVID? We've had our vaccines. Could it be COVID? And I went and immediately started smelling shit.
Well, as soon as
like-
you said that, I thought immediately, I hope you didn't
COVID.
bring
I
COVID
know.
here.
I know.
I mean, you're vaccinated.
Yeah, but you can still get it. The vaccination is not 100%. So, I'm okay, I think. I can smell things. I think it's just some sort of like sinus cold or something like that is what it feels like. So,
Right.
I don't know. We'll get through it. Do you know what happened today though? Okay, so I've been like going, man. I've been going and editing stuff. I'm being really good and getting things done, but I haven't slept a lot. So and I feel like crap. And I took Winnie to chemo today, and then I came home and I'm like, when I get home, I'm going to crash. I'm just gonna crash. And I went and I slept, and Alastair came home with me and took the dogs for me, and then he went back to work, and then I
made him a hot toddy.
I
made
a
him
hot
some
toddy.
stuff.
Good job, yes.
I got some soup.
But that is countered by the fact that I woke up to the most insanely loud, just banging on the door, and I was like,
What?
I woke up. I felt like I was I wasn't even fully awake, so I was like, it felt like a fever dream, and somebody was banging on the door, and I looked out the window, and there was an air conditioning truck, and we had air conditioning problems for a little bit, but we got that fixed. So I was like, why would there be an air conditioning truck outside? And I ran and I put my clothes on and I opened the door, and there were these guys sitting there, and they're like, we're here to do the air conditioning. And I'm just like, our air conditioning's done. And he's like, well, I just talked to somebody who said that we're here to do air conditioning. And I'm like, what? And then they pushed themselves kind of into the house.
Did they?
And so I fucking thought oh my God, I just answered the door. I don't have any weapon on me. these guys are gonna come in and take my dogs. They're gonna like steal my shit, and they're gonna like just beat me up because they're tall. They're big dudes.
I feel so bad about that.
Yeah, and you know what it was? Is that Alastair just didn't tell me that, yeah, air conditioning people were coming by. And so he showed up like a minute later, and I gave you the most insane death look.
Yeah, well, because I thought I'd get here before they would get here and
Yeah.
be able to let them in and not disturb you. And that did not happen.
I got scared. I thought something was going to happen.
I apologize for that. I am
it's
sorry because I didn't realize
It just
was gonna be a
scared me
thing.
because I really thought I was about to like get true crimed.
Well, that's like I was about to say. That's like in a movie.
Yeah, I know. It felt weird because they were like pretty forceful getting into the house.
Well,
So-
they had to do a second opinion because we had our air conditioning completely redone.
Yeah.
And our air conditioning is actually pretty slow now. So they said it's working fine.
was
They had to tighten up some stuff, and but they think that I don't know. I don't even want to talk about air conditioning. I'm not going to talk about it. We were having stuff going wrong in the house. I think last episode we talked about plumbing.
Yeah,
This episode we're talking about air conditioning. I mean, tomorrow the plumbers are supposed to come, and hopefully Zachary won't think he's being true crime then.
I don't know. I hope not. Speaking of true crime, me and my mom listen to a lot of true crime podcasts. I don't know. What are some of our favorites? You like? We listened to.
like
I've been
Trace
listening
Evidence.
to Trace Evidence. Yeah, he's really good. I've been listening to a lot of Morbid. It's a couple of girls covering true crime. They're really good also. But there's another true crime podcast that we used to listen to a lot more, and I still occasionally visit them. The True Crime Obsessed. They're more of a comedy show, and they cover like true crime, like documentaries and stuff like that, and do commentary on those rather than like covering actual true crime cases, really. But I don't want to say like they've landed in hot water because like they're not really responding to it or anything, and it's not some big thing.
It's more of a.
It's more of so they got kind
speed
of
bump.
Somebody kind of called them out. There's another true crimer, a YouTuber true crimer, Stephanie Harlow, whose channel has blown up in the past year, who had some gripes with him, and fairly so. So me and my mom actually wanted to start a true crime like show, podcast, something. Like a year ago, we were wanting to do it, right? And
Right.
it just kind of never, every time we started it, every time we would try to get it together, it just never pieced together. And then not too long ago, we kind of had a conversation, and you were saying the same thing that like I was thinking, in that I don't know if I'm comfortable like covering true crime like these people do, you know?
Well, I just don't think I am because I just don't think, honestly, I don't have the time
Yeah.
to put into it because it takes a lot of time, I think.
Yeah.
to like do it
So-
respectfully. and, like-
Exactly, because you
Right,
have to do it
right.
respectfully. These are people's lives. These are people's actual lives that you're using to make this content for your own platform, and you know, just doing it willy nilly and not really like giving facts of the case and really doing your research and giving it justice, because really what you're doing is raising awareness, and you want to do it in the right way.
Right.
And I mean, I feel like I could make the time. I know you couldn't. I could make the time, but I think, I don't know. I feel like I wouldn't be able to do it as well as it should be done. And so we kind of stepped back from that. I think every now and then we'll
because
kind of.
I think y'all recorded a couple episodes, but it took a lot out of y'all.
Yeah.
And we're like, and this isn't saying anything like bad, but so like Stephanie Harlow, I can tell she does a ton of research,
Yes.
a ton of backstories, a ton of stuff like that. Whereas True Crime Obsessed, who I really do like their podcast, they watch documentary and then look up stuff about it,
Yeah.
and then do their notes, and then they record. So I feel like that's a much
Right.
better, like, I mean, not much better, like much easier hands-off approach to true crime.
Yeah, and not saying
Right.
that they don't do their research, but it is like an easier workload, you know.
Yeah, where you don't
Well,
have
they're
to like
covering
comb through it.
a show.
Yeah, yeah, and so it is a sort of different dynamic, and they have a little bit more room to like be more comedic and stuff like that. We did like a 2-part Aisha Degree episode. I think that was the one we did the most research on, and we tried to do an Aaron Hernandez episode, and it was just like a lot. There's a lot. Like I was like on like 25 pages of notes. It was crazy.
Yeah. I speaking of the degree story, I had something just right before I started talking to you guys popped up on my okay, I might have to hit mute in a minute because of course right now while I'm going to start filming my cat decides that she's coming to the kitchen and she just opened a cabinet.
Their cat, her cat named Key, opens and slams cabinets. She just decides randomly to do it.
If you hear slamming, it is my cat slamming my cabinets. It's terrible.
And Alastair wants a cat, but every day I see Key, I'm not convinced.
But anyway, right before I started talking to you guys, I was looking at my Facebook, and I follow an Asha Degree page.
Yeah.
And someone posted on that page that they've been writing into Dr. Phil, trying to get him to cover that story. So I don't know. Side note, I just thought it would. Well, he hasn't done it because there's so many cases.
Yeah, there are. That's one that I always think about. That's the reason I wanted us to cover it. Like when we were doing our true crime thing, we called it Big Little Crimes. And so when we have this morning show, we probably will do like occasional true crime episodes where we more cover the podcasts that do true crime in order to kind of raise awareness for these cases. And one of them, and we'll call it like Big Little Crime segments instead of a full show, but like one of them that I really want to do is Aisha Degree, because I'm like, that case just like breaks my heart, and it just frustrates me to no end.
Right.
It's that one and the Cassandra Hall. I really want to do hers as well.
Right. I like that one.
For
That's
listeners,
a really good one.
Where's a good place for them to go to like, listen up about this?
Trace Evidence, I think, did Cassandra Hall, didn't they?
I think that's where I heard it at.
Is it? Okay, yeah.
On Trace
Cassandra
Evidence.
Hall was, it was like a, not to get too into her case, but it's well worth the listen. She was a teenager who was just working. She was working for this doctor, and she went to work one day, and her mom was supposed to come pick her up, and when her mom went to pick her up, she wasn't there. And, this was back when, so I don't think she had a cell phone or anything, and she's been missing it ever since. And, there's a lot of eyes on the doctor. And it's just a really frustrating case because it seems to point in one specific direction, but you can't really prove anything. So I'd highly suggest going and looking that one up. But speaking of Stephanie Harlow and True Crime Obsessed, Stephanie Harlow actually called out True Crime Obsessed on Twitter. So True Crime Obsessed did a 2-part episode on the Netflix documentary. Is it a documentary or a show? It's a show, right?
It's a show.
Yeah,
I've seen it.
The vanishing at the Cecil Hotel, the Elisa Lam vanishing. And Stephanie Harlow, among some other like internet sleuths, were actually in the documentary. And so True Crime Obsessed, they were covering the episode, and they had some not so nice words about internet sleuthing and internet sleuths like Stephanie Harlow. And they, in fact...
Is that an appropriate term?
I don't know, and I hope I'm not being offensive. So if I am, we've already said in episode 1 that we are a little bit problematic sometimes. So they didn't outright, I never heard them outright say her name, but I think she got the same assumption that I did when it was her voice that they kept playing during their episode. And then they would start talking all this trash about like true crime YouTubers and true crime podcasts and stuff like that. A couple of her messages, I'm going to go ahead and read them. At True Crime Obsessed, it would be real nice if you could do your research or reach out before playing my voice on your podcast and then saying I'm really fucking awful and not good at my job. Professional courtesy would have been you reaching out for a comment. If you had done a few seconds of research outside of watching the series, you would have seen that we were misrepresented and Berlinger had to make a retraction. Considering you're saying that all we care about is views and money on a podcast where you are trying to get views and money is beyond ironic. And with your influence, I would hope that you would be a tad bit more responsible with your platform and the things you say on it. It's beyond disrespectful and disappointing. I think you used the term keyboard garbage, which once again is rich, throwing stones in glass houses and all that. You did exactly what you accused podcasters and YouTubers of doing, throwing out words without doing your due diligence. You have like 6 ads. She got him here. You got like 6 ads in an episode talking about a Netflix show that I was on. And then she goes on and she says, "I'm done. Do better." So
I just listened to that. Well, you sent it to me yesterday, and I was listening to the wrong episode because I was listening to the first episode.
he was like, "They're not talking trash about you."
Yeah, and so I got to the second episode today, and I listened through it, and it was like at first I was like, "Oh, it's not too bad," and then I got to I think it was around the 42-minute mark, and they really go in on I guess internet sleuthing, and the YouTubers and people who make profit off of true crime, which I think is the most ironic thing.
It is,
seeing as they do the same exact thing.
Yeah. Did you get to listen to it at all, Mom?
Yeah, I listened to it.
What'd you think?
I did. Well, exactly what you're saying.
Yeah.
But so.
And we're not here
I
trashing
get what they were
anybody,
saying.
by the way. So
I get what they were saying. They were saying a lot of things about basically people who sit at their computers and try to fix things, solve things, the sleuths. But in the particular story that they were talking about not that I would want to say anything terrible about all of these people, but I do think that they were making a good point, a valid point, about that particular case. Because that's how I feel. Because
that's good.
I do think that it was a case of serious mental health issues, and people wanted, while I think they meant well, I do think that they were trying to find something that just didn't exist. That's how I felt.
Yeah, and it did come off like that in the documentary series. So one thing that is very notable and worth saying is that one of the makers of the documentary had to come out and do a retraction because a lot of these people featured in it, their statements and everything were taken out of context in order to paint this narrative of everybody thinking that it was some big conspiracy murder and cover up or something like that. And so this, I remember whenever it came out, she came out and said something about it too. I wish I would have screenshotted that, but she did call the documentary out about it as well and said, "Hey, you guys took this out of context. That's not fair because you're making me look bad." She also says that, here, let me pull this one up. She says, oh, I don't think I have this one. Okay. Anyway, she said that, she said something about whenever that came out, she got a lot of harassment and hate for that documentary, even though they were all kind of taken out of context a little bit, and I think that's worth pointing out. And I do get what True Crime Obsessed, Patrick Hines and Jillian Pensavalli are saying, and I do like them, and I like all of these people, and I don't like to see fighting like this because, especially in the true crime community, it's like why is there even any fighting? Everybody should be there for one particular goal.
I mean, I agree with that.
And I get what some of them were saying, because listen, there are definitely, you can go on YouTube and you can see the people who are there for the views and the money and not really giving a shit about the actual victims and the victims' families.
Well, for sure.
But then I entirely see Stephanie Harlow's point, because they're using her voice really a lot and inferring that they're talking about her, and
are they allowed to do that?
They can. I don't know. See,
because what they're doing is they're reviewing the show.
They're commenting.
So when they review it, you're allowed to use that audio as part of it. It's fair use.
Yeah.
When you actually do that.
And they, I'll say one thing about Stephanie Harlow. is one, she takes no crap. She speaks her mind. She does speak her mind. And two, you want to talk about a YouTuber, internet sleuth, however you want to call it, not doing their due diligence and like their research and like just feeling entitled and like everything that True Crime Obsessed was saying. That is not Stephanie Harlow. Stephanie Harlow is probably one of the most thorough true crime YouTubers I have ever seen. Her videos. Yeah, of course she's making money off of it. Of course, this is her livelihood now. She's all in the true crime world. Yeah. And so of course she's making money and she's getting to profit off of it, but also she's getting these cases out there, and when she covers a case, it turns into like a 2, 3, 4 part series of videos because she does so much research. It's not like part 1 and part 2 have the exact same information in it. It's like she goes backstory, investigation, the crime, the aftermath, like all of it. Like she is incredibly thorough. She is not one of those who it's just coming up and pulling theories out of her ass.
I think they were crappy, but I think that it's also like it's just something that deserves an apology because people make mistakes all the time.
Yeah.
Like I was listening to that podcast and about how that guy's life was kind of ruined by the insinuation that he was involved in it, and I was like, I felt really bad about that.
Yeah.
Because he's right. His life was ruined. People really, really want to do good, and this is something I think that we see a lot, especially in social media and in Twitter culture, is that people want to do good so much that inevitably they do bad sometimes.
Oh yeah, and
I think this is another example of people just wanting to just go above and beyond, and end up hurting somebody.
Yeah.
Right.
And
which is
what?
What Patrick and Jillian could have done too. I mean, apparently they offended Stephanie Harlow.
Yeah.
So
I think maybe, and listen, I love Patrick and Jillian. I love them. I love all of these people. I understand where she was coming from and how she could feel attacked hearing them, and they were pretty aggressive in their tones, and I heard what she heard, I think.
Well, I heard it too, but I also heard a whole lot of, okay, so I'm going to say this and then I'm going to say something else.
Yes.
So what I heard, because when you told me to listen to it, I don't know what I was expecting to listen to, but I don't think I was hearing the same thing I think you thought I would hear, because what I was hearing was a lot of passion for Elise, and
maybe that is it. Maybe
that's what I heard. Is that they felt really sorry for her, and that it was a little irritating that you got all these people who are ruining someone's life because they're trying to solve a crime that didn't even exist. But at the same time, I get what they were doing, and I mean, I don't know. I see it from both sides. So then, in saying that, that was the first thing that I'd listened to on True Crime Obsessed in a while, because I think it's hilarious, and I like it, and I listen to it. I just haven't in a long time, because I started feeling kind of bad about laughing at things they were saying about people. And I mean, it was really funny when I first started listening to it, because I really like what they have going on. I just felt personally bad about laughing about them. I don't know.
In some of these cases,
making fun of average Joe who's in a documentary. You know what I mean?
Well, yes.
I don't know.
I
know what I mean. I just don't know how to say it, I guess.
Yes. Well, somebody commented on Twitter saying that, I know you review the shows, but it seems more like you also review the people. And I think that's where it comes down to that kind of criticism, because they are hilarious, and they make
they are
some criticisms that are completely valid, and sometimes it's because documentaries are edited in the way they're edited, or people are interviewed in certain ways, and sometimes it's just certain situations that come up that are really funny, and I do enjoy that. They never really make fun of the crime or the victim,
Right.
but
Right.
more so the way people approach it, document it,
Right.
Especially
and
the documentaries.
investigate
Yeah,
it.
exactly.
But I laughed because the first one I ever heard, Aaron said, "Mom, you have to listen to this because we watched this show years ago, The Wonderful Whites of West Virginia." And so Aaron was like, "Oh my gosh, these people did this podcast on this show." So the whole time I'm listening, and I listened to it like 5 times because I was laughing my ass off.
Yeah, and that's the first one you
Because
showed us too.
it was exactly the thoughts I had always had about that show. And so I felt like someone else in the world understood how I felt about that show because I didn't think anybody else had ever watched it.
Yeah.
But and then they were funny and funny and funny and funny, but then I started feeling kind of bad about I don't know. I just felt bad. Not saying I would never listen again. I just haven't in a long time.
And it's also like whatever kind of coverage that you want to listen to. Like I definitely wanted to like listen to their coverage of oh gosh, what was that Netflix show with tigers? Tiger King.
Yeah.
Because I just knew it was
yeah.
gonna be
Yeah.
hilarious. You know?
Yeah.
And like
And they have a lot. They have a ton of energy.
they do.
And so the energy they have is very contagious because she's so quick-witted and sarcastic, and then he gets laughing so hard. And when he starts doing that, then I start laughing.
Yeah,
I start laughing. I don't know.
that
So they have a
domino
ton of
effect.
energy, and I really do.
You feel like you're out
appreciate
with a couple of friends just talking about something.
And they really do have like a fantastic dynamic. They hit something really special in their show. And the Wonderful Whites of West Virginia episode that you that was the first episode you showed
Yeah.
us, and it was hilarious. And I also really appreciated them touching on like the themes of addiction and how these people were like kind
Right.
of stuck and they grew up like this, and this was how they were gonna stay, and like because it's all really so it was like a perfect blend. That episode was just I thought it was so great. And then I kind of felt the same way you did, Mom, is that, you know, the more I listened, some things they would laugh at, and I'd be like, well, you know, I don't really feel like comfortable. And like, you know, hey, I'm not standing on any sort of high horse and stuff like that. I laugh at things that I shouldn't be laughing at sometimes.
Right, we all
and
do.
I'm not a perfect person. I think just as I get older, I kind of realize a little bit more that I don't know if I feel comfortable laughing at that.
Well, yeah, no, I think that, but I think they've done a good job about like drawing a line in terms of what they're making fun of, and it really is the documentation, the investigation, and the people who are involved, not the victims of the case.
Oh yeah, 100%.
So, and I do appreciate that because I feel like, okay, yeah, we can all make fun of the fact that this police force didn't do their due diligence of doing, like doing what would be obvious to everybody else,
Yeah.
And you kind of feel like somebody's like seeing a certain case in the way that you would see the case, and I think that's what they do. They humanize these documentaries.
And it does feel like they care about these people in these cases. Like, it does feel like that.
Yeah.
I do like them. I appreciate them. And so maybe when I heard it and it sounded a little aggressive to me, I think you said it a little better, Mom, is that they were just passionate about this case. And I don't know. So I get it. I just also see it 100% from Stephanie's side. You know, they were in that episode, in the clips that I listened to, they were really criticizing true crime podcasters and YouTubers, and them
That's what it sounded like, yeah.
views and money, and like if that's what they're doing, and if that's the opinion they hold, well, they're not doing anything different than these true crime podcasters and YouTubers are, because they also have a podcast and they do have a significant amount of ads throughout each episode. Plus
called
the
True
Patreon.
Crime Obsessed.
Yeah, like they're making enough money that they've turned True Crime Obsessed into the Obsessed Network, and now they have like a plethora of shows. And so I always feel bad when it feels like somebody is like, I don't know, kind of dragging somebody else down who it's definitely Harlow wasn't doing nothing to them, And I think she does do a good job. And like I said, there are true crime YouTubers and podcasters out there who are absolute shit, and they are just out for like, you know.
It's also okay you doing your due diligence and that not meting what is like. Let's say you're a true crime podcaster. You did your due diligence, and guess what? Something came off that in the end was wrong. It's up to you to go back and correct that. Up to you to go take that back. You know.
And I mean, it's not my place to demand an apology. It's not. I understand that Stephanie Harlow would want an apology, and I would hope that they would offer her some sort of apology, and maybe like, because I have no doubt they've seen that. Maybe look her up if they don't already know her, and kind of like see what she's about, and see what the other people are about who are in it, and see if they really like match up to, how they were portrayed in that documentary. And I bet they see that maybe those people aren't.
What was the documentary?
The
For
Vanishing
the
at the
viewers?
Cecil Hotel.
Have y'all not watched it?
Yeah, Alastair's not a true crimer. He's not.
I like.
Alastair.
I would watch it. I would.
You would watch it.
I would watch these things. I'm not a super fan of these, but like, just like Zachary with Marvel, I'll watch it and I'll enjoy it. But I'm not gonna like go out of my way to do it.
Yeah. So I don't know.
Well, I enjoy it.
Yeah.
I feel like you should enjoy it. We should all enjoy it together.
Well, I think so. I think
know.
so. And
Never mind. Keep on going.
Well, next time you come over, we should watch it.
yeah, we can do that. We'll do.
Yeah,
something like
it's
that.
good. It's really good.
I think with the rise of true crime, I don't know. I'm all for it because you think about all of these cases that really have had no exposure. And like there's all these true crimers now, and maybe some of them are out just looking for content and just content farming, but maybe one viewer will hear about this case and kind of connect to this case that they've never heard of before, like us and They Should Agree. I heard that from a YouTuber, from Kaylee Elise, who don't do true crime YouTubes anymore, but I do think it is an important field, and I think everybody needs to be a little bit more, handle it a little bit more carefully.
I think you're right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, that was a lot. That was a lot of talk about this true crime stuff. So let's.
I know.
We're gonna go ahead and go into Handmaid's Tale now. I think.
Can you still hear us? Just
Are we? Because we haven't even talked about episode 10
we
yet.
have not. Okay, so for those of y'all who have not yet seen episode 10 or haven't seen The Handmaid's Tale, this is your spoiler warning. We are going to begin spoiler talk in 5, 4, 3, 2,
Where did you put
1. Okay, now.
Wow.
What do you mean? Yeah.
I've been waiting all day for
episode
this.
10.
To talk about episode 10.
My mom texted me. She does this a lot too. On a Wednesday morning, she'll like text me Zachary or something. She'll say something, and sometimes she'll spoil it for me.
No, I
You
don't.
spoil. I don't know. There was one that you spoiled for me.
It was a book. We were listening to the book.
I don't know, but it's.
You wanted me to listen
I saw
to the
that
book,
text
and you're like,
message.
"Are you
I thought it
listening to
was
the book?" And I'm like, "Yeah,
hilarious.
June just died," and you're like, "I haven't even got to
Oh
that part."
gosh.
But
I think I only know.
Yeah.
Wait, actually, do most people call you Zachary, or is it just like
She calls me. I don't know. Do you call me Zachary?
I call you Zachary?
Yeah.
I think Aaron says Zachary.
well, I just was thinking about it
I don't
because
know.
it's been because I started watching.
She wakes up and
at
watches it
midnight.
early, y'all.
Well, I started it last night, and so at midnight, and so I watched like half of it and watched the other half this morning, and I just kept thinking about it all morning, and so when I got to work, I said I'm gonna text him. So I just texted him Zachary ! Just to see what he was
I
gonna
hadn't
say.
watched it yet, so we.
I wasn't gonna tell you anything.
We waited till like 7 p.m. to watch it, and had been thinking about it all day. But I asked you, like, do you think it was better than last season's finale? And you said yes. So I kind of want to hear your thought on that, because after watching it, yes, incredibly powerful episode. Yes, best episode of the season. But I don't know if it beat season 3's finale, Mayday. I thought Mayday was like an unbeatable episode in this series.
It's probably the best episode.
Well,
I
it
feel like.
was. The only thing is that I felt like this episode, while I know that there's unanswered questions. I get it. But I feel like we have less unanswered questions than we did ending season 3. because, all the kids got on the plane, and then, June gets shot. And yes, while we all knew she was probably going to make it, because she's the character, but it leaves you thinking, well, what's going to happen? There's so many questions that you have. I don't have a ton. I only have a few questions. I don't have a ton of questions because she did it.
Yep.
In my opinion, she did the ultimate. And so, except get Hannah back, but she did the ultimate for her. And so I was like, I was in shock. I couldn't believe
It
it.
was.
And I loved every second of it.
Yeah. I thought it was like a really special finale, this one. I loved. Oh, I don't even know. It's just like. I guess we can kind of blend our coverage of episode 10 and just the whole season as a season. I do understand what she said during this episode, where it's like she kind of lost Offred and she missed Offred. And, Offred was it was a whole different person in Gilead, Like, we see her from episode 1, and she's like, determined, and she's in survival mode, and that's all she can really concentrate on and think on. And then she leaves, and she's kind of wrapped in this safety now, but she can't escape Gilead, but, like, she's kind of left Offred behind in Gilead, so, like, she doesn't really know who she's not really June anymore, She came back, and she's not June. She's not Luke's wife anymore. She's a whole different person.
Right.
And so watching her kind of reclaim that in this episode was really powerful, I think. And it got really dark, but it felt the way it should have gone,
Well, I felt like at the beginning of it, just seeing the look she just had this certain look in her eyes. I just felt like something was going to happen. It didn't happen the way I thought it would. It was much better, but I don't know, I just loved it. The way she had him out there in the woods and then tells him run, and he turned around and ran. I just love that.
No, but that part in it, when she does like turn to him and says run, like, oh my, just chills, because then you see all of the other ones behind him or behind her, like you see Emily and I didn't see Moira there, but I'm assuming she was there, right?
I never saw her, so
in
I
my
don't
head
know that
it would have been
there.
Moira there, maybe Rita. I know Emily was there, so.
I definitely saw Emily, but they didn't focus in on Moira, which I thought was interesting.
Yeah.
But it's cool because it's not cool, but it made me feel, because I was thinking to myself while I was watching this, if this had happened in Gilead, I would have been totally completely for it. But since it's happening outside of Gilead, where there's a legal system, then it made me feel uncomfortable, but in a way where I don't want to feel uncomfortable about this, because I like the fact that these women are taking control in the way that they want to take control,
Yeah. And I think that was a theme from this season, is June kind of pushing everybody to I don't know, stand up a little bit more.
It was nice for them to get the retribution, the way that they got the retribution, even though it was outside of the legal system.
Yeah.
Because the legal system really just didn't work for them at this point,
Well, it was not going to work for them. And then you have Fred, who is really arrogant and cocky and just kind of full of himself and just thinks that he has done it and he is getting out of this situation. And then to see the actual fear on his face was, when he figured out where he was really going, was just kind of something. In the way she told him run.
Yeah, it was.
He did.
I don't know. I was all just because I didn't know where the episode was going, because she said I want him on the wall and stuff like that. I'm like, oh Lord, that's gonna be a whole season.
Well, I was thinking they were just going to send him back to Gilead, and they would have put him on the wall in Gilead, is what I thought was going to happen.
It begs a question too, how did that happen? Because they exchanged the 22 women for Fred Waterford, but then they had him assassinated by the former handmaids. So like I'm wondering like where's the disconnection? Are they not gonna be like, oh well 22 of the people we captured are gone, like,
Right. I
and
know
then you
what you
have
mean.
Nick and
No, yeah, I get what you're saying.
Joseph, who are
Hmm.
like, I guess they're the good side of the bad side, where like they're still contributing
Yeah.
to and benefiting from like this society, but also like really the only thing at this point which seems to be making them good at all is that they care for June. And I'm sorry, but just because you care for somebody doesn't mean that the good deeds you're doing the good deeds for her. You're not doing the good deeds because they're good. So they're I don't at this point I'm not I don't like them. I think that they deserve the same punishment as Fred Waterford.
I just cannot stand Nick. Yeah. Like, oh, Nick just boils my blood. Like, he has sold her out every single chance he's gotten, you know? He, he
Hmm.
freaking bombed her, man.
He did bomb her. He did capture her and brought her back. And um,
Even,
yeah.
like, I don't know.
And he has a
He was
wife.
even
Yeah.
in episode 3, he was bringing her to the freaking colonies. And like, well, sorry about it. And she ran and turned back and
Hold
ran
on.
up to him and kissed him and had this big romantic
I
moment.
know, I'm
I
like-
hated that.
Well,
Hated it.
I'm almost thinking it's maybe like a Stockholm syndrome or something.
Oh,
like
it
that.
is. I mean, yeah. I mean, and also like we're just talking about like she's a different person, you know. So
Well, she is a different person. I feel so bad for her husband, who's really trying to be there for her.
yeah.
But she's a different person, and I just feel bad. I feel bad for him.
Well, Luke thought that he was gonna get June back, right? The June before Gilead is what he thought he was gonna get back, and you know he didn't. They don't. He doesn't have Hannah. He doesn't have June. He got kind of June's daughter Nicole, and it's like I do feel awful for him, and like I mean, let's call it like it is. She raped him. Also,
Well, she did, yes.
and so
But it was also her. I think because like when people are in situations where they've been traumatized, or they're depressed, or they're down in some sort of ways, you can hurt other people a lot. You being hurt, you can hurt other people a lot, and I think that's something that she did. She was trying to kind of take control of her sexuality, and by doing that, she made him feel very uncomfortable.
yeah.
With what was happening, and I think we're seeing her, especially this season, realize that she's not the same person she was before. She can't be the same person for him, and honestly, like if you look through the other like seasons, is she doesn't really mourn her marriage as much as she mourns the loss of Hannah. And I think that's actually very telling
Right.
in terms of
Well, I mean, I agree with that. I just think she doesn't know how to be.
Yeah. I mean, keep
So
in mind they're also stripped of all their
that's
feeling, you know, right? Like they're almost trained not to
right.
feel anymore. And so I think the one
Right.
feeling she had that she could cling to for the entire series, because we learned it's like 7-8 years that she was there. And the one feeling that she could cling to was her love for her daughter, Hannah. And, you know, I felt so bad for her on that boat, knowing that she was like didn't want to leave, and that she was so terrified of facing Luke and showing up without their daughter. Like she failed their daughter. She
Right.
failed to protect the daughter and bring her daughter back. And like it's almost like, you know, if you're in a flood and you're holding like back in the tsunami, I saw tons of stories of like what year was that tsunami? 2006, 2004, and like tons of stories of like parents who were holding onto their children's hands, and then the children would get swept away, and they like lost their kid, and they have to show up and face people without their kid, and it's that guilt, but like it wasn't her fault, but she still feels guilty.
well, they also reveal
Of course, because
Yeah.
she's a parent.
and they also revealed a lot of doubts about their relationship that hadn't been revealed prior to this season, in terms of remember Maura saying that, hey, he just He wants you,
Yeah.
but if you don't get pregnant, he's probably going to divorce you like he did his last wife. And I do think that those accusations were probably unfounded, because I definitely think that he genuinely loves June. He genuinely loves June, and I just it's kind of one of those unrequited loves where you love somebody more than they love you, and I think that's what he has. He at the end of this season, he's completely broken.
I don't even know if she
Yeah.
necessarily like. I think she loves Nick, but I think it's also a different kind of love that she can more process, in that she's not able to like really fully be with him like she is with Luke right now. She's able to be with Luke, but she still just kind of doesn't even want that.
Well, I think with Nick, I think she loves him, but I also think she's trauma bonded to him.
Yes.
And so it's a different thing. And no matter how much Luke loves her or what they've shared together, he's never, ever going to understand that side of her and who she's become because he wasn't there. And no matter how much she ever tells him, he's not going to get it because he didn't see people hanging from the wall. Or
Yeah,
do
like
you know
he
what I
doesn't
mean?
like when
But Nick did see that side of her, and that's how
yeah.
he knows
Even
her.
in this episode, you know, he's mentioning Chicago and like going to a Red Sox game and stuff, but or like in Boston and stuff like that. But like he doesn't even know what it looks like now.
Well, I know, but
Right.
at the end of the day,
He's trying to tether her to a past that is long gone.
but I do think at the end of the day, June is going to grow past that, because like Luke is a man who tried to save his wife and child and take them to Canada, whereas Nick is a man who contributed to a genocide. So I don't know.
Right. I do think that you have a very good point, and I've thought that also myself, is that once she gets everything squared away and taken care of, what's going to happen? Maybe she is going to be with Nick, and I mean, going to be with Luke and be able to, because at the end of the day, every single I think sometimes I get so emotional during this season when I
Yeah.
see
Oh, I
Luke.
do. I do.
And when I
He
see
does a
Luke
really good
have
job
tears
acting.
in his eyes,
OJ
he
Fackley.
makes me emotional because I feel so sorry for him,
I do. I do. And I
because he wants to understand and he wants to try, and he just wants his family back is all he wants. But he's like he's he just doesn't know how. She's got like a wall up around her and he just doesn't know how
and
to
what
get
we're
through that
seeing
wall.
is like all of these people affected by all of this in such different ways. You know, you have Luke who just is trying to, he's like, well, I have pieces of my family here. How come they're not like fitting together again? Like, why isn't this working? And then you have June who's like we're saying, she's a whole different person. She's not the same cutout piece that she was in that family before. So she's not going to fit in there anymore. You have Emily who's
Right.
like, doesn't even sleep in the bed with her wife anymore, or like she still doesn't sleep in the
Right.
bed with her wife, even though she's been out of Gilead for a good bit now, because she's still like so traumatized by what happened to her in Gilead. And Rita, who is still in like a cleaning, cooking mindset. You know, she even mentions it in this episode that she's talking about it with her therapist. You know,
Right.
all of these people, just whether they're inside Gilead, outside Gilead, they're all affected.
What I thought was hilarious about this episode was Commander Waterford trying to pretend that like he's a victim. This
know,
entire
he
like
loves,
thing.
he loves to
yeah.
do that.
Yeah, just like, oh gosh, it's like,
Well, he did that to her when she was giving her victim statement. And then I felt like he was, I don't, it confuses me because I think in my head, well, with all this stuff she's saying, why would they even think to let him? Of course he would get um, found guilty, but I guess not, because it's legal in Gilead in their country to
Yeah.
rape women.
That's why Zach and I were talking about how we would have taken it to the media.
Well, I think what they were
a lot
going
more.
with, I think their big point of evidence was the testimony that she was raped outside of the fertility ceremonies that they were doing, outside of the sex ceremonies that
Yeah.
they were doing. That Serena and him like held her down and physically raped her. So that's kind of the case they were making there. But let me tell you, like, I have always gone back and forth on like whether I like Aunt Lydia or whether I like Serena Joy. And like they have these
Right.
little moments, like glimmering moments, and I know I shouldn't like these people; they're very bad people. But like I'm like, you have potential, like do something, help somebody. I cannot stand these two characters anymore. I love the actresses, perfect actresses, but I hate Serena Joy in this episode when she was like
Oh,
making
yeah,
those
for
demands,
sure.
like you better go house hunting. I need a big enough house for my family. Like
It was
oh.
it was that privilege, but like I think that's what makes a great character is a character who is evil or does bad things, but you also know that they have the capability of good. Take notes, Loki. And that's what we see with Serena Joy and Aunt Lydia. And like Aunt Lydia, like her story was explored this time. Like Joseph was like, hey, I know that you get pleasure from hurting people, but I need you to stop hurting people. And she was like flabbergasted about the fact that somebody
would even point that out.
yeah,
You know?
and everybody was pointing it out to her this season. The other
It
aunts, everybody.
It makes zero sense to me that she's still in a position of power right now.
Well, that's because she had the.
Well, of course she is, because she's got stuff.
Yeah, because she had that stuff against the other commander, right?
Yeah, Commander Lawrence.
I don't know. I think he still could have had enough power to have her just like put to death or something, or sent away. I don't know. Yeah.
Well, and then we have the one character we haven't talked about a lot is Janine.
Oh, and I knew it when the explosion happened. I said I turned down and I said, if we do not see a body, she's alive still, because I was so scared that she was gonna die.
No,
And you said, and she's going to go back and be a handmaid. And Aunt Lydia is going to basically tell her exactly what happened, essentially poison her against June. So at this point, we don't really know where her head is at as far as June is concerned, because at first she was like, yay, go June, I'm glad she got out. And then Aunt Lydia's like, no, she left you. She went to freedom, and there's Janine still there.
I still feel like Janine's got the best heart of anybody in the show, and I think her heart is so unchanging that I feel like she would still be Team June. She just knows that her own situation, she needs to put her nose down and follow the rules.
Well, I think Janine is way smarter than everybody gives her credit for.
Yeah.
And we've seen a lot of growth out of her character too. And the thing is, like, at this point, and I really, really, really do love Elizabeth Moss and her portrayal of June.
Yeah.
Oh, I do.
But at this point, I almost want them to like focus more on other characters.
Sideline her for just a moment.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because I think it'd be really cool. I mean, it's still called The Handmaid's Tale, to kind of maybe put Janine in the forefront for a little bit, you know?
Well, and something like that may happen next season. We don't know.
And
Where you
And-
see like June's
and
side on the other
Esther
side
Keyes.
and Janine.
yeah, well,
Oh, yeah.
Esther Keyes too.
Because June was kind of, molding her a little bit, trying
there were a
to
lot of parallels here.
build her up and make her strong.
Yeah.
So,
There were a lot of parallels here, like when June tells Esther Keyes to basically kill her rapist. June got the same opportunity in this episode when Commander Waterford's running away. It's the same as the first episode where June's running away with her daughter. Like there was a lot of parallels in this episode.
Also, like when the handmaids, if you remember the first season when all the handmaids had to kill that one rapist, and they did
Oh, and they're all
exactly the
beating
same
him
thing.
up. Yeah, they were all beating him up. It was like
They'd been trained for this.
it was just so powerful. It really was so powerful. Did anybody else notice like June wearing a red coat this whole time?
Oh, for sure. And how can I not notice? Because I'm in these Facebook groups, and they point that
Goodness,
out
here we go with the Facebook
all
groups.
the time.
Yeah.
Did they hate this episode?
What are the Facebook
Honestly,
groups
I
say about
haven't
it?
read a ton of it today because I've kind of purposely tried not to read a whole lot of it because it's just the most ridiculous thing.
Yeah.
I've
seen some of those Facebook groups, and they're basically like June's such an awful
Anti-June.
person. It's like an anti-June group, basically.
Oh,
is what
it
feels
definitely.
like.
Some of them are. June is so selfish. June is a terrible person. We hate June. We hate June. We hate June. But at the end of the day, I don't see, when I look back on all of it, I honestly can't think of anything that June has done for herself.
Nothing. And even when she gets to Canada, she is still in a mindset of like, yes, she's trying to get justice, and that I guess is for herself, but still
That
like
was for herself.
But
At the very end was for
yeah.
herself, also for other people though. But the thing is that yes, there were casualties, there were people die, there was people that got hurt. But at the end of the day, every single thing she did was for the benefit of someone else because she had multiple opportunities to get out and she didn't.
And she didn't. She ended
She
up
got
much to all
Nicole
of our
out
frustration.
and stayed.
Yes.
Right. Every
like, why?
season we were just so pissed off cussing her out.
We're
But
like, June!
damn it, June!
And then she'd look at the camera for 20 seconds and be
I
like,
know.
go, June, go!
Stop. But
That's why they don't want to focus on Janine.
yeah.
Janine would go, but Janine said, okay, I'll get on the boat. Bye, guys.
No, she only has one eye.
She
They
said-
they can't do it with her.
True. She said, Mom, like, oh, she's gone.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. It just makes me so mad because, and I'm going to tell you, tons and tons of them in those groups are very pro Nick.
Ugh.
And I think it's just the whole love and romance thing is what I think it is. I don't necessarily think they're seeing like the bigger picture about the whole thing and that
Yeah.
it's not really, I mean, she probably loves him and there's a form of love, but it's just not sustainable and realistic. And it's because they have a shared experience and they do have a child.
But it's
we
the
can't
same
forget
thing as
that.
like, it's kind of the same thing as June and Luke, right? It's like June and Luke, whenever June was taken into Gilead and like Luke escaped, she clung to the memories of Luke and Hannah.
Right,
Well, now that
right.
she's in Canada and she's safe, she's clinging to the memories kind of Nick.
That's really
in a way.
good. That's a really good point. And I have to tell you, they're all, oh my gosh, if I have to see this question one more time,
Just turn it into the Facebook
I
shitpost.
want to scream sometimes. But I hear every day, multiple times a day, there's like, so do you really think that Serena Joy's baby is Waterford's? Or the better one is, so do you really think that Nicole is Nick's son? Because Waterford can conceive, apparently, so Nicole must really be Waterford's.
Yeah, I keep seeing those questions too.
It's
I don't know,
annoying
though.
because
I don't
it's
know.
annoying.
I don't care.
I don't
feel
care
like-
I don't care the parentage of these kids.
I mean, I just don't think that's not what it is.
Yeah.
It's not that. And who knows? You know what? That baby might not be Waterford's, Serena Joy's. We don't know.
I think nothing I thought was going to happen happened to this season. I thought I had it figured out too. You know, I was like, the Waterfords are going to get off. They're
Yeah,
going
that's
to
what I
get to
thought.
go back to. They're going to get to go back to Gilead because The Canada's not going to want to rise tensions, and I thought that Serena Joy was going to be so unhappy with Gilead. See, I still held out hope for Serena Joy up until the last moment that she was going to be so angry with Gilead for everything that she created, because she created this, that she was going to go back in and she was going to destroy and team up with June and help destroy Gilead from the inside. And she's just fucking looking for houses.
And she was like, she must call him Commander.
I'm like, bitch,
Oh,
no.
right.
Oh,
She's
take another
demeaning
finger.
him.
Take another
And
finger.
I honestly didn't think that she was being demeaning. I think she was trying to express the importance of like closure with these families.
She was questioning him. So let me ask y'all a question.
Okay.
If you had to name your favorite episode and your favorite quote from the season.
Oh gosh.
From the season. Oh, okay. Favorite episode from the season. See, I don't know. I really enjoyed episode 3 with the handmaids getting run over by the train. I was just like, my heart was on the floor and stomped on and run over with that train. So that got me. When she took that boat ride to Canada, I really liked that one. So I'm going to say 3 episodes. That one, boat ride to Canada, and then the final episode. And my favorite quote is, I'm going to even do it in dramatic reenaction. Put the microphone a little bit away.
I think I know what you're fixing to say.
Oh, shit, I forgot it. Oh, is
If you're moving the
Do
microphone.
you understand me?
Me. Yeah.
Was that it? Yes. Oh, my God. The power in that move. The
it was-
big boss energy in that move.
Yeah, it was perfect. And then she had like all this spit coming out of her
Yeah,
mouth.
freaking
Yep.
Elizabeth Moss, man. She went for it. What about you? What about your favorite episode and quote?
Who, me or Alastair?
You.
Gosh, I think oh my gosh, it's so hard. I think my favorite episode was definitely the boat.
Okay.
Because the episode right before that, when the bombing happened, the very end of that, when Moira called her name, I had chills and I couldn't stand it. So in saying that, I think that's my favorite episode. Of course, I love episode 10. But I loved the episode on the boat. And also in that same episode, where Moira said, I have it written down. Hold on, because it was my favorite. It was my favorite quote of the whole season was, "Don't make me leave you again."
Oh, heartbreaking.
That
Heartbreaking.
was my favorite.
Yeah.
When Moira said that to her, yelled at her and told her, don't make me leave you again.
I know.
It was so, there's just they know how to do heartbreaking scenes in this show. What about you, Alice?
I'm gonna go back and watch it again.
I think so too.
From season 1, because I haven't done that, and I need to now go back and watch the beginning.
I
and
revisit
see
episode
how
1 pretty
different
often.
things are.
Yeah.
We watched the first couple episodes with a friend, and it was interesting going back and seeing all that.
What is
Yeah.
your favorite episode in quote, Alastair?
So my favorite episode for this season was Chicago, because I really
Oh.
liked seeing June and Janine together. And same episode, I think my favorite quote was when Janine says, when Janine comes back, because June is about to walk alone, and Janine comes out and she says, "I feel safer when we're together. Handmaids always walk in twos, remember?"
Broke my heart
Right.
again.
I know.
Right.
Janine was just so sweet and would have followed June to the ends of the earth. And like June did care about Janine. And when she gave her the hat,
Yes.
I was like, tears.
Well,
I
I
love
think
that.
June is going to get Janine.
That's what. So June's going to end up back in Gilead.
Well, of
I
course she
believe
is.
it 100% in my heart. But I'm wondering who she's going back for. Whether she's going to go back for Janine or Hannah. Because I don't know. I have a sneaking suspicion that she's going to let Hannah go.
Let's do predictions. Then, if we're talking about what's going to happen.
Yeah. I mean, what do we think is going to happen from here?
You start.
Yeah, I think June is going back into Gilead next season. I think she's going to
Well-
figure out something is going to prompt a response in her, and she is going to go back in.
So people are just gonna get that.
What happened at the end of this episode? Because I was really confused about Luke and June, when June's holding the baby, Nicole, and she says, I'll leave in 5 minutes. What was that? Because I even asked our friends who watch it with us usually every Wednesday, and they said that they think she's going to go turn herself in.
I don't. I think, well, I don't know. Actually, I don't know what she's going to do. Maybe she is going to turn herself in. But I think that he would have much rather her let Waterford be handled through the legal system, maybe. And now he's faced with the fact that she's a murderer, and he knows he is. He knows she is, because he looked at her and she's got blood, and he knows what happened. He's not stupid, and you could see it all over him how bothered by that he was. And she knew that once she did that, I think that she knew she wasn't going to be able to just go right back in to the house.
I think that was a moment that, because I had to rewind it like twice because I wasn't sure if I'd missed a conversation or something. I think that was also a moment that, because he knew what she did, and I also think it was a moment where it is accepting that is not your June anymore.
Right.
And I think she already knew that. She's known that since she's been back.
Right.
And I think it was kind of an unspoken acknowledgement between them. That's why he kind of sunk to the floor. And I don't think they're going to be together after this.
Well, because the group text we have with our friends where they watched it, they said, "Oh, I think she can turn herself in." That doesn't make any sense to me.
Yeah.
I mean, she may. I don't know.
I mean,
there were so many people involved with it too, though. Like that was a legal trade, so it doesn't make any sense for her to have to turn
Here's
herself
the thing:
in.
There's so
why
many
is
people
she going to
involved
even
in
have
it.
to turn herself in? They're probably never even going to find him.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And if you turn yourself in, I think you put everybody else in jeopardy.
Yeah.
And she already doesn't trust this legal system, obviously, because she worked outside of it. Why would she submit herself to that?
Right.
I don't think.
Except
I don't
they
think
do
that's
have
where they're
DNA.
either. I don't know. Maybe
I don't know. Well, I mean, but nobody's investigating Waterford's
I
murder.
really wanted
Nobody's
to
going to
see
be doing that.
Serena get that
This is
package.
True Crime Podcast. Okay.
Well, yeah, and he dropped the finger in the ring, and I'm like, I'm put the shit back in the package and give it to her, hand it to her.
Why are you checking people's mail? That's illegal.
And she was trying to do a Zoom call, her internet dropped, and I'm like, let's get Serena Joy.
Yeah, I felt real sorry for Nick Luke.
Oh, gosh.
Sorry, I felt real sorry for Luke at the end of that episode. I felt bad for him then. I mean, I just felt bad for him all the damn time. But I also felt bad for him when he told her also to go see Nick, and hopefully that was going to help get him.
Well,
he's slowly accepting that that's not his June anymore.
When she went to meet Nick, I had a feeling, because this was following June having the conversation with, who was it? Lawrence? She was having a conversation with Lawrence? Yeah. And he was saying, well, you're not the June I knew. The June I knew would do anything to get her daughter back. And I thought Luke was going to hear that and sell June out and Nicole to get Hannah back.
Oh, well,
I don't know. That was just a crazy conspiracy
he
in
had
my
a
head.
look on his face. But I think when he heard that, he was probably had questions like, well,
He just is never going to get it or understand any of this.
We're also forgetting that Nick is married, and he was hiding that from June.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just added to the list, Nick's transgressions.
So Jennifer, what are your predictions for next season?
I don't know. I want to read the Testaments.
She said the Testaments will be next season. Also, did you notice the parallel of like Waterford being put into the van was the same as the season 1 finale of June being put into the van?
Yeah.
I was like, you motherfuckers better not end it here. I'm gonna be so mad if like it ends here. And I thought I agree with you. Like they didn't really leave us with too many questions because they kind of like wrapped things up nicely.
That's what I thought. And I was glad they did that because I'm not.
Yeah, I couldn't take another year.
I'll be happy.
No, I was so happy that they continued. We were even watching him go in there, and I was like, this is where they would usually end the season.
Yeah.
And I'm so glad that they continued.
I'll be really happy when it comes back on, but I'm also not going to be dying.
You're satisfied.
Yeah, I feel satisfied. I can go ahead and find something else to watch and
Love Island.
and I'm okay. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
It's supposed to come out this month, I think. The British one.
Yeah.
Handmaid's Tale felt like this season felt like it went by so fast.
It definitely did.
Crazy fast.
I mean, it only had 10 episodes.
That's what they put 3 episodes out in the same day.
I mean, if
That
we
was
watch
one
Love
of the
Island,
reasons.
we're gonna have like, 5 episodes a week. So
It's gonna be so great. I can't. I don't know what. I just feeling it. I have some Love Island glasses.
Yeah.
You know, I'm just feeling it. But for my predictions, I just want to say real quick.
Okay.
I predict, and it's gonna be crazy predictions. It might be a little crazy, but you know,
Oh
it
my
might
God,
happen.
it's getting crazy.
June is gonna become one of the housewives to Nick, and then
What?
yeah, and then
Facebook groups are going to tear you apart.
Serena Joy will become a handmaid.
I wish.
Off Nick,
You
maybe.
were-
Off Nick.
Alastair talked to no end about Serena Joy becoming a handmaid.
I think it would be perfect.
Well,
Yeah.
I believe in so much foreshadowing. I'm always looking for foreshadowing, and so I'm waiting for the moment that something happens with Serena Joy and her
Even
baby.
Serena said it. They can make me a handmaid,
I
Well,
think they're going
yeah,
to.
and
and
what
they
is
made the
gonna
other wife a
happen?
handmaid.
They're gonna
They're
take her
going to
baby.
rip. That's what I think. They're going to rip it out of her arms, and she's going to feel it. I still feel like Serena Joy is not out of the fold yet, whereas like Waterford, I feel like it was his time to kind of go. We didn't really need him around in the show anymore.
Yeah, we didn't have to come back to him.
And I don't like Serena Joy, but I just feel something coming with her and June.
I mean, maybe. I just, this is terrible because the resistance needs all they can get. But I really hope she doesn't do something like that because the way I see it is that she had a lot of opportunity to help. And she didn't do anything. She's selfish. The Waterfords
In the
both
word-
are very selfish. And I can't, no.
In the one of the one burning.
They need to send her
questions
to
they
the
were talking
colonies.
about- Yeah. I'm glad you're not in charge of the colonies list. In the one of the one burning questions, extras. So they were talking about Serena Joy, and they said Serena Joy is just out for Serena Joy.
Right.
She will care about nobody else but Serena
100%.
Joy ever.
She doesn't even talk about
100%
Nicole
believe it.
anymore.
Yeah, I know. She done with Nicole.
She really
she
just
forgot
like-
that baby
F
fast.
Nicole,
Just
I got
dropped
my
her.
own baby now. I don't need that baby because it was, oh my daughter.
So what about so one of my last questions, because there was a very good kind of question that was brought up here, is Waterford's information, or because we know what happened to him, but was Waterford's information in exchange for immunity more important to the overall cause, to the bigger picture, than June getting justice?
I really hate.
I hate to say it, but I
this.
think his information would have
Yes.
helped.
Well,
a
I
lot.
think his information would have helped too. But information
just
about
such a
what?
dirty-
Information about what? That's their own country.
Yeah.
They do what they want in their own country. Everybody knows what's happening over there.
Yeah.
But I do think, I do. I think the answer is yes, because I do think the big picture, helping everyone who's there, not just June getting justice. But
And June,
I have to say, out of
yeah.
all this time, that's the first thing June has done. First time June has
That's
done
it,
something
yep.
for herself.
Exactly. And that, I
Take
think,
that,
is
Facebook groups.
okay in my book. I think she deserved a little selfish moment. There was a little fire in Emily's eyes, too, while she was beating up Waterford. Like, It was good and cathartic for him.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I hope Rita was there throwing some salt in his eyes or something, some paprika.
Yo, Mrs. Salt.
Well, I don't know.
It was a good season. I
It
wonder.
was a slower but good season.
Well, that's also is I wonder how much of the season was affected by COVID and how much was like kind of rewritten and reworked due to COVID. Because it did seem a little bit slower, but also like just her being in Canada would be a little bit slower, right?
Right. Because she's got a slower pace and
Yeah.
they're not focusing as much on Gilead because nobody else in Gilead right now is probably trying to escape. I mean, there's Mayday still, I guess. Hell, I don't even know.
they even talk about the handmaids, the new handmaids. You know
Mm-hmm.
how Aunt Lydia's like, and the Marthas are like, why are you acting like this? Like these are women who grew up within this structure now.
Right.
Like they're not as rebellious as the generation before them, June's
Right.
generation.
Which makes me wonder. So what's going to happen to Hannah?
I think Hannah's going.
I think
to,
Hannah's gonna
she
be
would
an
married
aunt.
off, wouldn't it? Do you think Hannah's going to be an aunt?
That's what I
no,
think.
she'd be a wife.
I think
because she's a
I think
human
she's
stuff.
going to be an
I think.
aunt.
Oh my goodness! Oh, we got predictions.
Well, how
here.
old is Hannah
I think
now?
we need to read the
Hannah
testaments.
is- I know. I think we need to.
They
read-
could do a jump forward, like a 5-year jump forward. I think that'd be kind of really cool.
Zachary, did you finish that book?
the
Malibu Rising.
Malibu Rising. I
Yes.
have not.
Well, hurry up and finish it, and so we can do the testaments.
I've been trying to get him to finish it.
Yeah, we'll okay. So we'll do that. We'll read the testaments at some point, and then we should come back on here every now and then, and maybe do a rewatch and cover season by season.
We could do that. I would do that.
Yeah, we should. But I think we're gonna go ahead and start wrapping up here. Yeah, if you have.
If you made it towards the end of this
If you've
podcast,
made it,
thank
it's
you.
gonna be a long one. Thank you. But
Yeah, thank
got
you
really
so much.
into the Handmaids
I feel
here.
like I had all these notes and I didn't even.
Do you want to touch on a couple of them before we go?
No, because we've just been all over the place. Anyway, yeah.
Yeah, well, what do you guys think of The Handmaid's Tale Season 4? Let us know down in the comments below if you've seen it, and what do you think of the finale? Where do you think Season 5 is going to go?
We're gonna be talking about Love Victor.
I think Monday.
Monday or
You keep
Tuesday next
promoting-
week.
Yeah, I don't know what we're
Did we already talk about
Yeah,
that?
we did.
Okay, well we're gonna be talking about Love Victor around that time. Do you watch
Yeah.
Love Victor, Jennifer?
I haven't watched it yet. I saw it on there.
Yeah. Okay, but thank you so much for coming on, Mom. Appreciate it.
Well, no problem. Thank
See you,
you for
Jennifer.
inviting me. Invite me again
Ooh.
sometime.
And thank all of y'all
Will
for
do.
giving us a listen this morning, and we hope you have a great rest of your day.
All right. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.